G'day team, welcome to the Overheard in the Emergency Room podcast, the show where we take the wild, messy, real-life stories from the emergency department and turn them into practical lessons for your long-term health. I'm Dr. Kois, emergency physician and former sports performance specialist, and today I want to talk about something that may sound a little bit strange coming from an ER doc: prevention. I know what you're thinking. Why would someone who lives in the land of 3 a.m. emergencies want to talk to you about prevention? Well, the reality is that what you do with your body and put into your body over the first 10, 20, or 30 years of your life determines how the 5th, 6th decades and beyond will pan out, and how often you will need to see me in the emergency room. Today will be the first step in outlining my version of a blueprint that you can use for better health. Think of it like building a house, one that won't be successful if you don't have a good foundation. This will serve as the basis for our episodes over the coming weeks. Welcome to the team. Let's get started on your journey to happiness and true health. So let me paint you a picture. It's 2:17 a.m. In front of me, I have a middle-aged man presenting with chest pain. He looks pale, terrified, clutching his chest. His blood pressure is sky high. His ECG is, well, let's say it's not my favorite. We move quickly. Aspirin, blood tests, cardiology on the phone, the whole team doing their thing. As we're stabilizing him, I'm looking through his chart. He's got years of elevated blood pressure. His cholesterol's been creeping up. I see the word pre-diabetes written in multiple clinic notes. Once he's settled and in less discomfort, I ask him a thorough history. He has a stressful job. He doesn't really move that much, and his work-related travel means that his sleep really sucks. When I look at this case on paper, it is not surprising to me that he is here with chest pain and a concern for a cardiac event. But to him, it feels like it came out of nowhere. I see this kind of pattern every single week. A young person who does not need to be in the emergency department with a negative outcome from years of neglecting the foundations of health. That's why we're here. I want you to keep this case in mind as we navigate our way through this episode together. Let's zoom out. When we talk about longevity, most people either think about living forever, which we simply cannot do, or they think it means becoming a full-time health project manager. But I want to offer you a different definition. Longevity is really about having fewer bad days and more good decades. From where I stand in the emergency department, the bad days we're trying to avoid are the cases of strokes, the heart attacks, the diabetic emergencies, the breathing crises, and the sudden collapses that pull you out of your life and into my resuscitation room. These events usually don't start on the day they show up. They start years before in tiny, almost invisible decisions. And this is where our framework comes in. I want you to imagine your health as a house. Tier 1 is the foundation and the frame. It's not glamorous, but if it's cracked, nothing else works properly. So, what is Tier 1? First off, diet. What stuff are you putting into your body every single day? Exercise. How are you stressing your heart, your muscles, and your lungs? Sleep. Does your brain and your body get adequate nightly rest? Meditation and stress management strategies. How do you respond and come out of a fight or flight experience? And finally, working with your doctor. Do you have someone on your team to help screen for problems before they arise? Have you got someone assessing your cholesterol and your blood pressure, measuring your labs and talking with you about them, prescribing medications when indicated, and advocating for you when you need to see a specialist for help? If we get Tier 1 right, and to be clear, we're not talking about perfection, just consistently pretty good, your odds of ending up in my resuscitation bay go way down. Then we have Tier 2. This is the often sensationalized stuff you see all over social media. Supplements, protein powders, creatine, saunas. If you listen long enough and go down a deep enough rabbit hole on these interventions, you might be duped into thinking that they are, in fact, tier 1 interventions. Now, I'm not anti any of these. In many ways, these are genuinely very useful, and we will explore the evidence that supports them later in this series. But here's the key principle. Tier 2 interventions should never be a substitute for Tier 1 interventions. It's the upgrade pack, not the basic structure. If your sleep is a disaster, you don't have a PCP helping you to screen for disease prevention, you haven't moved your body on purpose in a month, but you're in an ice bath every morning, we've got things backwards. This is the goal of this series, to remind you of how to build that strong foundation so that you can bolt on any of the fancy fixtures and cut through the noise that is often heard on social media. From 30,000 feet, looking back on years of shifts, I see 3 patterns repeating themselves. Number 1, most emergencies are the end of a very long story. There are genuine out-of-the-blue tragedies, of course, but most heart attacks, most strokes, most diabetic crises, the early chapters were written years ago. Number 2, tiny, boring habits beat heroic sporadic efforts. A person who walks 10 to 20 minutes a day, eats reasonably well, sleeps okay most of the time, and checks in with their doctor often has a dramatically different trajectory than someone chasing hacks and ignoring the basics. Number 3, many patients I see don't think about their health until they have an issue in their 4th or 5th decade. All the while, their risk is accumulating in the background. Their LDL might be in the low 100s. They're slowly putting down atherosclerotic plaque and increasing the risk of having a cardiac event. They're coasting off their athletic prowess and achievements in their 20s, thinking that will serve them as they turn 40, all the while having lost muscle mass, strength, and VO2 capacity. They've spent too many silly seasons feasting and drinking alcohol and having slowly, across the years, seen their body weight tip the scales. You don't need to live like a health influencer to change your future. You don't have to quit your job and move to the mountains and grow your own kale. You just have to stack the odds gently in your favor, week after week. That's what this show and the blog series, which you can read on my website, is all about. So, what do you actually do with this? Step 1 is seeing your life through the Tier 1, Tier 2 lens. Ask yourself, how am I doing, honestly, with the basics? Food, movement, sleep, stress tools, doctor visits or checkups. Then, instead of trying to fix everything at once, I want you to pick one Tier 1 area you feel most ready to change. Maybe it's adding a walk after dinner. Maybe it's setting a consistent bedtime. Maybe it's finally time to book that overdue checkup and ask about your blood pressure. Do it today or immediately after you finish listening to this. Next week, we're going to start with food, because what you eat 3 to 5 times a day is one of the most powerful levers you have. It may seem overwhelming, but don't forget, I'm an emergency physician, so I like short, actionable messages. Next week, we will explore my elevator pitch for diet. We'll cover the evidence that supports my pitch, and as always, provide you with some actionable items to help you move towards better health. So thanks for joining me today. I'm so excited for you to be here and for taking the first step in improving your long-term health. Over the coming weeks, we'll cut through the noise and we'll talk about lots of different things. Food as a first-line option to help improve your health. The minimum effective dose of exercise and what type of exercise you should be doing. What to do if your life makes perfect sleep impossible. How to calm your nervous system without feeling like you need to move to a monastery. How to work with your doctor as a teammate, not a referee. And we'll layer in the fun stuff. Supplements, creatine, cold plunges, sauna, with an honest, evidence-based look at where they fit. If this framework resonated with you, can you do me a favor? Like and subscribe to the podcast and YouTube channel. Share this episode with someone who's always chasing hacks but forgetting the basics. And think about that one question. If I keep living exactly like this for the next 10 years, where am I likely to end up? I'm Dr. Kois, and this has been Overheard in the Emergency Room. See you next time when we discuss my elevator pitch for diet and help you take the first step towards optimal health as we chase less bad days and more good decades.